I wonder if I'll find you in some remote bar? I wonder if I'll find the secluded spot where you parked the car. I wonder if I'll find you tightly embracing someone? Oh, I wonder where I'll find you tonight, Merle Haggard. It seemed that the climb to the summit always took longer. It was hard to say whether the guys were eagerly awaiting the weekend or just angry that they had lost 2 hours. 2 hours after the 12-hour shift, the methane alarm went off. I still had 4 charges and their detonators in a yellow bag slung over my shoulder. There were no explosive operations planned for tonight, and now I was once again tied to the bag. The warehouse where they kept the dynamite locked remained open exactly as long as needed for the guards to check their daily quota. I would take the yellow bag home with me again. It was a real pain in the ass, but the pay difference compensated for the inconvenience. I grabbed my clothes from the locker and headed to the door. I could see gray clouds swirling over the mountains to the east. By the time I crossed the parking lot, Marty had already warmed up the truck and was ready to go. Damn it, Travis. I don't understand why you can't get yourself an old beat-up truck so you have something to drive. You know I can't afford it. Because I'm paying for Donna's Mustang, I live in a poorhouse. It's not easy to feed 3 kids and support a wife who demands a lot of money. You're the most whipped guy the first know. She's had you wrapped around her finger since elementary school. Marty was right. Donna had attached herself to me when we were kids. She was pushy and controlling, but the prettiest girl in the whole county. I put up with all her crap just to be with her. Somehow, it got out of control. As soon as we pulled out of the parking lot, the rain started and didn't let up. It was a dark, cold rain. It seemed like it would continue for most of the night. The only good thing the rain did, in my opinion, was wash away coal dust from everything. Of course, the farmers thought differently. The wipers on Marty's old F-100 beat loudly and left big streaks on the windshield. The crack on the passenger side, as usual, began leaking onto the dashboard. Yeah, this was exactly what I needed, an old beat-up truck. The trailer park was only 15 minutes away. When it rained, everything turned into mud. It wouldn't hurt if they sprinkled some gravel around once in a while. All we needed was to make the down payment to move in. The problem was every time I saved a bit, Donna found something to spend it on. I'll swing by for you tomorrow at the same time. Thanks, Marty. We grew up together. Marty and I, neither of us planned to work in the mines, but that's how it ended up. He was going to join the Air Force, but they turned him down without a high school diploma. I wanted to become a certified auto mechanic. That didn't work out either. Listen, Travis, where's the Mustang? It's hard not to notice the bright yellow car, except when it's not there. I just shrugged and walked through the door after he left. When I entered, all 3 of my sons were sitting on the floor in front of the television. Where's your mom? Todd, the 8-year-old boy, just looked at me and shrugged. When did she leave? About 10 minutes after you left for work. I had a distinct feeling that I was interrupting their TV time. What was she wearing? Her red dress. One thing I knew for sure, she didn't wear that dress to go to the supermarket. It had a deep neckline and reached above her knees. I must say, she looked good in that red dress. I put the groceries in the fridge. Tomorrow will be fine anyway. Did your mom feed you before she left? Todd was the only one who answered my questions. No, I prepared dinner. What did you guys eat? Pop-Tarts with cocoa. All 3 seemed glued to the TV. It was obvious I was an unwelcome distraction. In my opinion, Todd was still too young to look after himself, let alone his younger brothers. Terry was 6 and Sean was turning 3. Todd, if you get a chance, put clean pants on Sean. It's obvious he wet himself. It was hard to believe a 3-year-old wasn't potty trained yet. Donna was one of those mothers who believed kids should raise themselves. I quickly drank a beer and headed out to pee. It was pouring rain outside, but I had an overwhelming urge to go look for my wife. I wondered where I would find her tonight. Just 4 years ago, everything was fine. Donna started seeing her friend Marta Lou. At first, it was just once a week while I stayed with the 2 boys. Things slowed down a bit while she was pregnant with Sean, but after he was born, they picked up again. When I worked the night shift at the mine, a nanny would come over while I worked. About 6 months ago, she started leaving them alone. Marty was right about one thing. I was a pushover. All the time I was with Donna, I let her call the shots. She always made decisions about what we would do and where we would go. I truly had no say in anything. Being with her was so pleasant that I was willing to endure anything to make her happy. I think that was my problem. The best part of our relationship was the sex. I had more sex than any other guy the first knew, and it was good sex. Honestly, I did try to limit her extracurricular activities, but I failed. Donna's dad was a deputy sheriff when we got married and soon after became the county sheriff. He never liked me. He made it clear that I wasn't good enough for his only daughter. Now I understand he was right. I couldn't provide for her as she demanded. One evening, before she got pregnant with Sean, I went to a local bar and tried to get Donna to come home with me. I didn't hide it. Her dad showed up in less than 10 minutes. Donna's dad was a big man and damn intimidating. He pinned me against the wall in the middle of the bar and told me in front of 100 people that if I ever touched his daughter again, he would beat the shit out of me. Donna managed to calm him down, and she did come home with me. That was the last time we discussed her escapades. After Sean was born, she seemed to enjoy doing it just to piss me off. Someone famous once said, "Most men lead lives of quiet desperation." I don't know who he was, but he was a smart guy. I looked at my 3 sons lying on the floor and decided I didn't want to do this anymore. The rain was still falling. "Mom, it's Travis. I need you to do me a favor." Mom and I had always been on good terms, except when it came to Donna. She had a sixth sense and never really warmed to my wife. Donna was smart and beautiful, but Mom thought she was conniving and untrustworthy. It seemed she was right. Everyone was right, except Travis. "Why aren't you at work, son? How are you going to feed these 3 kids if you leave work?" "Not skipping. They closed again because of a gas leak. I need you and Dad to come pick up the kids. I need to step out for a bit, and I don't want to leave them alone. Where's your loving wife, son?" "I'm not sure." On the other end of the line, there was a pause. "Do what you have to do, son. You know your father and I will always support you." "Thanks, Mom. Sometimes it's good to have family." Donna had a cell phone, but I decided not to call her. The boys were still glued to the TV when I put on my jacket and grabbed the yellow bag. I pulled an old army poncho over my head and stepped out into the rain. It seemed like my sons didn't even notice me leaving. Now I regretted not having that old truck Marty used to joke about. It was less than a kilometer from the trailer park to the main street. Once I hit the asphalt, walking became easier. Soon, the rain made me feel worse than before. The poncho only reached my knees, so my jeans soaked through in the first 10 minutes. For some reason, my left sock was wet. I mentally noted to wear waterproof boots next time. The poncho kept my head dry, but the rain whipped against my face. Every few minutes, I had to wipe water away just to see. Most bars, naturally, were on the other end of town. It was a strange town. On one side of the main street were the railroad tracks, and on the other side were the shops. Of course, the stores were now closed, that is, the ones that were still operating. All the streetlights were working properly, and you could see raindrops falling on the storefronts. 2 cars stopped and offered me a ride, but I just waved them off to keep going. The southern part of town ended right before the interstate highway between states. The last place still open was Joe's Truck Stop. Before the highway was built, there used to be Joe's Diner here. They served delicious meals and hot coffee. Truckers liked it because diesel was always a few cents cheaper than at the big boys. Between where I was and Joe's, there were at least a dozen bars and half as many motels. On a night like tonight, I didn't think Donna would want to go too far. All I needed to do was find the yellow Mustang. It's a shame I couldn't afford to hire a taxi to take me around the city. The rain was pouring non-stop. The thunder seemed to fade, but the water remained. The first 3 bars were small, gloomy places where mostly older folks sat and sipped from the same glass for hours. Donna wouldn't have visited such establishments, but they were still worth noting. I stood on the street and looked through the windows. The hot spots were further down the road, where neon lights seemed to flicker in the moist air. My left leg got wet and started to chill a bit. I moved on, carefully examining the cars. They all looked gray until you got within about 50 meters or so. Perhaps the night rain plays tricks on your eyes. I had never noticed this before. The roundabout was the most popular spot in town. Whenever Donna and I stepped out onto the street, we always ended up at the roundabout. I finally reached it after navigating a few dead ends. It was big enough that I had to step in. I stood at the end of the counter, soaked through like a miserable dog. "Damn, Travis, you look like shit. Why the hell are you out in this weather?" Walt was a good bartender and the owner of the Carousel. He came up to me with a smile on his face and handed me a dry bar towel. "Don't move, Travis. I don't want to have to clean this damn floor." I wiped my face and ran the towel through my hair. Even with the hood of the poncho pulled up, my hair was soaked through. When I handed him back the towel, it was replaced with a dirty rag. I scanned the room and saw only 100 people and Martha Lou. She was with 2 guys, but it seemed she was alone. She left about 20 minutes ago, Travis. I handed Walt an empty bottle and nodded, just so he knew I heard and understood him. She was with Elvin Pittman. He usually hangs out at Whispering Pines because they have parking in the back. I pulled the poncho hood back over my head, nodded again to Walt, and walked out the door. The rain was easing, but still falling. Lightning flashed far to the west, and the thunder was almost gone. It was only a 10-minute walk to Whispering Pines. I caught myself shaking my left leg every 50 meters or so. The yellow Mustang was parked right next to Elvin's cane cab duel. There was no light in the back parking lot. I guess that was the reason. I was there for only about 5 minutes. I was good at my job and proud of it. The way back to Whispering Pines seemed to go much faster than the walk to Whispering Pines. The rain had turned into a fine drizzle, so I took off the poncho before going inside. It was clear that Walt didn't know how to approach me or what to say. He was a good guy, and I knew he didn't want to be remembered as the bearer of bad news. He had no idea what I had in mind. I smiled slightly at him to calm him down and asked the waitress to invite Martha Lou. "How's it going, Travis? Why the hell aren't you at work?" There was sarcasm in her voice. That was all I could do not to hit her in the face. "Where is she, Martha Lou? Where the hell is Donna? And don't bullshit me." "Well, I suppose she's home with your kids. Isn't that where she should be? Maybe you should go back there and take care of your business." Walt sensed the tension and handed me a beer, trying to ease the atmosphere a bit. I drank half the glass and leaned towards him. "I'll find her and kill her. And any guy she's with. You understand?" Suddenly, all her haughtiness disappeared. Martha Lou seemed genuinely shocked. This simple statement was completely out of character for me, and everyone in the county knew it. Walt looked somewhat stunned, but I noticed a slight smile on his face. I said, "Do you understand?" Martha Lou nodded but didn't say a word. She was always quick with a retort, but not today. Heading back to her table, she glanced at me twice. I handed Walt an empty glass. He insisted on shaking my hand before leaving. He had never done that before. At the other end of the room, Martha Lou was frantically talking on her cell phone. I picked up the poncho by the door and threw it along with the empty yellow bag into the trash can next to the bar. I wasn't trying to hide anything because I wasn't planning to stay here. I'm sure there will be a real hell in the mine because of the unaccounted dynamite, but I wasn't going back there. I figured I had about 10 minutes to get to the truck lot if I hurried. At Joe's, as usual, it was bustling. The asphalt was still wet, but damn rain had stopped. I had to talk to 3 drivers before one offered me a ride. Houston seemed like a great place to me. Just as we got on the highway, about half a kilometer away, there was a loud explosion. We watched as an orange ball rose up and black smoke, visible even in the darkness. My driver said a few words that I seemed to miss. He didn't notice the smile on my face as I looked out the window. Epilogue. I had no trouble finding work at the Posta de Conchos mine near Palau. They were glad to have a certified explosives expert after losing several people. It seemed I helped them meet some insurance requirements. The yellow Mustang disappeared without a trace along with my beloved wife. They held a memorial service, but there was no coffin. Elvin was thrown across the entire parking lot by the blast wave and ended up splattered against the wall of a trash container. I felt sorry for Elvin, but at least he had a funeral. I don't think I can ever go home again because there's no statute of limitations on what I did. Since explosive work is a federal crime, the ATF is also interested in finding me. This summer, Mom and Dad will bring the boys. At least I don't have to wonder anymore.
Thank you for being with us and listening until the end. If you found it interesting, please subscribe, give us a like, and leave your comments.